Good morning, everyone. This is Ted Murmagos, Division Director at the Division of Child Support Services here in Delaware. And this is the November 2025 Child Support Connection. As you all know and can see, we had to postpone this month's event to today from last week, which was November 3rd. So I hope that there are folks out there that got the message that we are holding the event today and that will join and ask in questions about child support or their specific child support concerns. So as I do, I'm going to kind of stick to the routine here. And as I always do, I want to start by going over and talking about our child support services mission. And if you viewed any of our previous videos, you know that I always like to start off these child support connections by reading our mission statement. So it's the mission at the Delaware Division of Child Support Services to deliver quality customer support by partnering with parents, both parents, to improve the lives of children and their families. This is achieved through obtaining accurate child support orders to meet the financial, medical, and emotional needs to promote family self-sufficiency and, of course, the best outcomes for children here in Delaware and for those children that live in other states that our child support activities help. And you know, as I was reading this mission statement, I was thinking maybe we should take a few minutes to really talk about the mission, our mission at the child support program. And then, and then what I thought I could talk a little bit about too is in some of the things we've experienced with the federal shutdown and how that has affected child support here in Delaware. So let's take a look and dive a little deeper into our mission statement. And if there, one of the, I guess there's two things I really do have to mention. The other thing is, as we kind of move through the hour here, I'm going to probably say this a couple times. If you put a comment in the comment section, that I always like to drop everything that I'm talking about, hit those questions, and then come back to the subject matter at hand. So it's so important that if anybody puts comments in the comment section, either now or as we move through the hour, to not put personal information. Don't list information about your children. Don't list in personal information about the other party involved in your child support case. So let's talk a little bit more about our child support mission. So the first sentence is, it talks about delivering quality customer support. And what that really means to me is, and I hope other people, when this is over and hear what I'm talking about, can come back to the comment section and maybe enter information about whether they agree with me or not. When we talk about deliver quality customer support, it's really talking about customer service and how we want to support both parents who are involved in the child support arena or involved in the child support situation. We want to provide quality customer service, but we can only do that here at Child Support by supporting parents. And we know that child support can obviously, it's a financial exchange, but it's also dealing with obviously families that are no longer together, or families who have there's an emotional connection with with each other, with the parents, the partners, and obviously if we're involved, if there's a child support case and situation involved, that family unit is no longer together, under one household, and that obviously can take an emotional hit on both parents when a family breakup occurs or when the parties are no longer together. So we want to support folks who maybe are experiencing an emotional challenge to help them help them seek out and get services that will prop them up and help them keep going during that emotional breakup that's happening. So, it's not only providing, child support, customer service, getting child support obligations put in place, but it's really helping parents, both parents, who are dealing with a new emotional challenge to find those community services that will assist them to help them keep moving, to help them move forward and overcome some of those emotional issues that they may be experiencing. So it's not only providing that child support, but customer service, but emotional needs to help people carry on, to overcome the stresses of the daily grind that we all deal with, quite honestly. But as we can kind of move through that first sentence, we talk about, partnering with parents to improve the lives of children. And, that's obviously so important to what we do in child support here in Delaware. There is an emotional, effect that could happen to children when they know that their parents are not going to be a family unit. But we also want to improve the lives of children and families by helping custodial parents get a child support obligation put in effect, helping non-custodial parents understand the child support process, helping them understand the family court process, to then move forward to improve the lives of children by getting them to pay that child support obligation on a regular basis, helping us get those wage withholdings to employers to help them make those child support payments. So, we want to improve the lives of children, not only emotionally, but financially through one of the main things obviously we do here at Child Support is to make sure that children are financially being taken care of by both parents. And that's so important to what we do here. Obviously, it plays a major role. The next sentence, so that's just like sentence number one, quality customer support by partnering with both parents to improve the lives of children and their families. So I see there's a question in the comment section. So when we tackle that, I'll come back and continue to work through our mission statement here at Child Support. So thank you for this question, and let's see here. When you go to court initially for child support, the attorney and judge state you have time to pay arrears. However, when the order goes through, you automatically receive a letter threatening tax intercepts, passport denial interference, lottery intercept, etc., not allowing the non-custodial parent time to pay the arrears before all of these things can occur. Thank you very much for that question. So as I've talked about in previous child support connections, happy to talk about it here again. Yes, to answer your question, the arrears, depending on what the balances may be, there is time to pay those obligations off. However, when we enter that court order into our child support system, certain activities, certain enforcement tools, like you mentioned in your comment, just based solely on what we're entering into the child support system, based on what the arrears balances are, it does automatically I hate to use the word trigger, but that's really what happens. It automatically triggers certain enforcement tools based on the amount of arrears that are owed on the child support case. So, for instance, we certainly do want folks to have time to pay the child support arrears, but for tax intercept purposes, there's a certain time period each year that we get to notify the IRS or the State Division of Revenue. So we want to make sure that parents know that we are going to be submitting the case for those certain enforcement tools to take place. So I know I kind of rambled a little bit here, but it's really based on what the arrears balances are, what enforcement tools those arrears balances have triggered. For instance, if you owe over $500 in arrears, that is going to trigger the federal Internal Revenue, the IRS interception. If you owe under 150, over 150, it's going to tell the Division of Revenue that we need to set it up to intercept any tax refunds for the state. So, yes, you might be told in court that there's time, and there is time. However, we still, when we enter that court order into the child support system, it automatically implements and submits the case for certain enforcement tools. So I hope that I was able to answer your question. And it's really based on the amount of the arrears that are owed. And I really appreciate that question because, if the court commissioner or the attorneys involved, they really should be telling folks that certain enforcement tools are going to trigger or are going to go ahead and be implemented based on the amount of those arrears that are owed. So one of the things I think I talked about in October was to go check out our website, because our website does have good information about the enforcement tools and what arrears balances, or if there's no payments in X amount of time, will trigger those enforcement activities. Okay, so thank you for that question. Really appreciate it. That helps get the ball rolling. So I'm hoping others that join us will go ahead and place a question in the comment section. So going back to our mission statement, the second sentence in our mission statement says, this is achieved through obtaining accurate child support orders to improve the financial, medical, and emotional needs to promote family self-sufficiency and the best outcomes for children. So I always love to talk about, because this is really so important, and something that really has over the last maybe 4 or 5 years has really played a role. When we talk about achieved through accurate child support orders, recently over the last 4 or 5 years, child support programs around the country, including Delaware, have tried extremely hard with the help of the family court to make sure that we are promoting and telling individuals, if you receive a notice for a court hearing, and I'm always saying this, if you receive a notice for a court hearing and it tells you to bring financial information with you, do it. Because we want here at Child Support non-custodial parents to be placed under child support obligations that they can afford. It doesn't do anyone any good if there's child support obligations that are put in effect that are too hefty, that people can't afford to pay. Because what happens is they try, they give it their best, But at some point, they say to themselves, I just can't do it anymore. I can't pay this child support and try to support myself, sometimes another family that they may have. So, we are always promoting for individuals to bring their financial information, and we work with the family court to make sure that accurate child support orders that folks can afford are being implemented by the family court. And to meet the financial, that's obviously task number one here at Child Support, to get that financial obligation in the door so that we can send it out to the custodial parents. But we don't really talk much about medical. We want to make sure that kids in Delaware have health insurance. And it can be Medicaid. We don't talk about that a lot. It can be Medicaid. It can be the Children's Healthy Insurance Program, CHIP. And of course, if parents are working, they should, if health insurance is a part of their job benefits, they should be enrolling these children in their health insurance programs. Making sure that kids have health insurance is so important. So when we are in family court with our custodial parents, we are making sure that each order, and sometimes custodial parents are placed under that order to provide that health insurance. So it's not always on non-custodial parents to provide the health insurance. Sometimes they say, custodial parent, you have to place these kids on your health insurance program. So, it's really, whatever the court determines. Now, sometimes, and it's happening more and more, employers are not offering health insurance. So we understand here at Child Support that if health insurance is not available at a reasonable cost, that parents can't afford to enroll the children in those health insurance plans, and then we just need them to let us know. And if they are able to enroll the children in the health insurance plan, then it's we here at Child Support, we need to know that. We need to see health insurance cards. We need to know what company the children are going to be insured under. So it's so important that both custodial and non-custodial parents can let us know, hey, I got my kids enrolled. They're enrolled in this insurance company, and we have to enter that information into our child support system. But peace of mind to know those kids got health insurance. I think our health insurance coverage really is so important to both parents, and it's important. It's one of the things that we really try to make sure is happening. And then the last item, in this part of the section is, to obtain accurate child support orders to meet the financial, medical, and emotional needs. Right? So let me just kind of sum this up a little bit here. You get the financial part taken care of. You get the health insurance part taken care of. Guess what? Part of that child's emotional needs, and they may not see it, but those kids' emotional needs will improve. And then, of course, if there's a problem with that, we want to help. There's places we can refer people to help make sure that emotionally the kids are taken care of. And then, when we talk about that medical, financial, emotional, what other way to ensure that kids and families are self-sufficient? That's not only part of our mission here at Child Support, but it's part of the mission at the Department of Health and Social Services. We're one of the divisions of the department. So, you know, it's so important. Self-sufficiency, best outcomes for kids in Delaware, kids around the country that are getting our child support, that are under a child support obligation, a child support order that says, Mom or Dad, one of you has got, or both of you have got to enroll these kids in health insurance. And then give us that information so we can update our child support system that, yes, little Tommy has health insurance through this company. But I love this mission statement. You know, I always when I'm talking about our mission statement, I always say 10 years ago, our mission statement was so industrial. It was, you know, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, and we're going to use these enforcement tools to make sure people are paying. You know, this mission statement, the one we currently have, in my mind, is so much better because it's softer. It's not so industrial. It's how we want to help both parents and families, both of them, and their family, one family unit or multiple family units, become self-sufficient. So we want to work with both parents. That's the bottom line. You know, this is our mission statement. We want to work with both parents to be, you know, support emotional health for children and families, but also support individuals being financially self-sufficient. So, really happy about this mission statement. I read it. But I don't really talk about it, and I think that's something we need to do more of. Sometimes things don't go as planned with your child support case, and things happen, but we want to help people. And one of the things I tell my employees, like things aren't always going to happen the correct way, but if we don't do it right, we should apologize for the error, and we should move on and correct it and move on and get the case moving in the right direction. So that's our mission statement. One of the other things that has affected us recently, and one of the things we're working on, is the shutdown at the federal level, and one of the biggest issues we're working with is the Social Security Administration, and working with them to not only start orders of income withholding, but in some cases where non-custodial parents have met their obligation and the case can be closed, terminating those orders of income withholding. Lately, we have had some challenges getting a hold of people at the Social Security Administration. Some of my employees told me even after the fact, they got in their cars and went to the office of the Social Security Administration because they were having issues with a particular child support case. And so, if you're watching this and you're either on Social Security and your Social Security payments should be sent to a deduction to your benefits for child support purposes, and you're not seeing it come out of your Social Security benefits, you really need to reach out to them and make sure they've received that order of income withholding to start it, so that they can start deducting those payments and sending them to our office. We've had a couple of cases where payments were coming from Social Security for quite some time, and then all of a sudden it stopped. So we're trying hard to get a hold of somebody at the Social Security office, and it's been very difficult, even for the child support employees. So just want people to know that we are absolutely working to try and resolve that issue, and hoping that we can get some of those challenges corrected and try to get child support payments in the door. So that's one major issue that we have had, and we are working with the Social Security Administration to try and resolve it. Yep. And I just got an email from one of my coworkers who I think it may be tuning in. So she thought it was a good idea. I'm just going to read what she sent me. It's so important to keep addresses, phone numbers, emails, and employer information up to date. This information is not only valuable for us here at Child Support, so you should call us if you have a change of address, change of employer, change of email, phone number, all your contact information. You should be making sure we have the correct information in our system. But not only us, you should be contacting the family court. You should be contacting the Division of Social Services if you're involved with them. It's so important to keep all of that information up to date. And with us, if you have an email address and we have it in our child support system, that's just one more way that we can reach out to you. So it was a great update. Also, update about your employer information. I know, and I'm sure it's a hassle to have an employer have to make your child support deduction and send it to child support. But guess what? That takes that responsibility out of your hand if you're a non-custodial parent. So it's so important to keep that information up to date. Really appreciate the suggestion from one of my coworkers. And then I see Mr. Beckett has sent me a question. It's in the comment. I need a job. Can child support help? Awesome question. Awesome question. And the answer to your question is 100% yes, absolutely. We can help you find employment, and that can be done through our Delaware Fatherhood Program. And if you want to, you can leave us a DM with your case number, or put an email address in the DM, and I will make sure you get in touch with our administrator who oversees the fatherhood program, and he can help you find employment. We have with our Delaware Fatherhood Program, we have a relationship with employment and training vendors. One is called Business Interface, and the other one is called Career Team. Yep, Kevin, I will make sure you get that. Both Business Interface and Career Team, it all starts with an assessment. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? Do you have a high school education? Do you have a college education? What do you like to work in? Like what's your area of expertise? They do an assessment, and they have a database of employers who are hiring today that they can refer you to. They can help you complete job applications. They can help you do a resume. Also, and it's something I try to talk about a lot more than I do, the American Job Centers. American Job Centers located at all of the Department of Labor offices here in the state of Delaware. There's 4 offices, I believe. If you go to one of those Department of Labor offices, to the American Job Center, they too can help you find employment. And it's no hassle. You know what I mean? They're really good to work with. But I will get Mr. Price, who is our administrator over the fatherhood program. I will have him get in touch with you. We can email you a brochure to give you some more information about the Delaware Fatherhood Program. And I can get, if you give me your email, if you think your email is already in your child support case, we'll get that email to you ASAP. The one thing I always like to mention, make sure I do here, the Delaware Fatherhood Program is not only for fathers, it's for mothers. Sometimes we've even been asked, can an adult child that was on the child support case be referred to the fatherhood program? And we've done that before. But the Career Team and Business Interface, they will help you. The American Job Centers will help you. One of the most important things when I talk about the fatherhood program and the job centers is you've got to be committed. But it depends on what level of where that assessment comes out. It may be something that's a quick turnaround. You have job skills that meet this bunch of employers who are hiring, and they can get you over to them, and they can help you find those employment opportunities. So we will make sure you get that information. The next question is, why haven't we been paid since we get paid every week? Why haven't we been paid since we get paid every week? So I'm going to make a couple of assumptions. If I'm incorrect, please send me another comment. Get me on the right track here, okay? So I'm assuming what you're saying is you're a custodial parent. You have not been paid your child support, but the other party gets paid weekly. So you're wondering if he gets paid or she gets paid weekly, how come those payments have not come into us and gone out to you? So based on that assumption, and if I'm wrong, please go ahead and put in the follow-up in the comment section. But I will say this: if in fact the employer has sent us payments and we have not sent them to you, maybe there's a problem with your contact information. If the employer has made if you're saying, hey, yeah, the employer has made the deductions to the person's paycheck, but the payments haven't been sent to us, we need to call the other party's employer and find out what the deal is, and we can do that. So it's a good opportunity for me to plug the contact information. And I'm going to come back to Kevin's question, but contact information. 1, you can call our customer service unit, 302-577-7171. They will look at your case. They will triage it. They will see what's going on, answer some of your questions. And then if say the employer does need to be called, they will get it over to the child support specialist that's handling your situation to call that employer and find out where the payments and why the payments have stopped. Number 2, you can go to this website, that's my.delaware.gov. Create a username and password, right? Once you're into my.delaware.gov, go to the child support. I call it a portal, child support customer website. Pull that over. Create a secondary username and password, and guess what? You can email your worker directly. So sometimes people complain, I was on hold for 25 minutes. And I always say to them, do you know about the my.delaware.gov and how you can reach out to your worker that way? And I'm always encouraging people to do that. But we should contact that employer to find out, is the person still employed there? Maybe the person got hurt on the job and is out for a couple weeks. Let us investigate that a little bit. So my suggestion would be to reach out to us, call the customer service unit, log into my.delaware.gov, then go to the child support portal, child support website. And then, I forgot to tell you, the other thing you can do, you can look at your account statement, print your account statement at home. If you have updated information, updated contact information, you can send that to us through the customer portal. But we need to find out from that employer what the deal is and see what's going on with the other party involved. Especially, I've seen cases over my time at child support where, man, payments were coming in like clockwork for years, and then there's a blip. And you wonder, like, what's going on? So you reach out to the employer, and they can tell you what's happening. Especially like in construction or, people that, work outside a lot. We're coming upon the winter months, and sometimes payment histories get a little choppy, So I hope I was able to answer your question. I think, that was a great question to ask. But, and then I'll say this, and then I'll go to Kevin's secondary question here. The one thing that we always tell custodial parents, please do not call employers directly. Let us do that for you to find out what's going on with the payments. And then, so Kevin asks, is there a program to obtain a passport if you have back child support? So, here we go. The passport denial program is one of our enforcement tools. And the policy, this is the policy, but hang with me here, okay? The policy is if somebody wants to have their license reinstated, they have to make a lump sum payment to pay off all of the arrears. Stay with me. Don't hang up on me yet. To pay off all the arrears. But we understand, we understand that paying off a lump, with a one-time lump sum payment to pay off child support arrearages in some cases is just not possible. I've seen some child support cases where I'm like, I couldn't pay a lump sum to pay that arrears off, So, we try to work with people. We try to work with people. Now, I'm not, Kevin, I'm not gonna lie to you here. We do ask for a lump sum payment. Sometimes it's kind of a substantial, maybe a third, a couple months worth of the current support to pay down those arrears. But we understand, man. We get it. People can't pay off all of their arrears at one time. So my suggestion would be to reach out to our office, speak to one of our workers, our child support specialist, and let them, and I don't know, in some cases too, like the custodial parent, she may be like, yeah, give him his passport back. I don't have a problem with that. Or, get a lump sum payment from him, and then you can give him his passport back. So, we like to work with folks to make sure that, we're not putting, remember, we talk about the mission statement. We want to support self-sufficiency of both parents. So, we understand that people cannot pay off all of their arrears to have their passport reinstated. And the reason why we ask for that big lump sum is that passport's good for 10 years. So once the person has it, they have it, So it's like our one bite at the apple to get some of those arrears paid off. Great question, Kev. Give us a call, and let's see if we can work with you. And so I thought also that we talked a little bit about the Social Security Administration. I'm hoping that the federal shutdown gets resolved and people come back to work, so that it's just been really difficult for us to get a hold of folks in the federal government. So we are continuing to work with the avenues that we have to get a hold of people. It's very discouraging, though, in some cases where payments were coming in from Social Security, and then all of a sudden those payments stopped coming in. Kevin, you can ask me as many questions as you want. No worries. I have the paperwork for the child support reduction, but don't have any idea how to fill it out. Okay. Yep, so you're talking about a petition for a modification decrease. And if you need help filling out the paperwork, the fatherhood program, we can certainly help you do that too. I would also encourage you to reach out to the family court. In all 3 family courts here in Delaware, they have a resource center. The resource center has folks there that can help you complete the paperwork. So I would encourage you to do that. You know, this gets me thinking a little bit. That I talked last month about having an event for a Facebook Live event for specifically for non-custodial parents. And maybe, one of the things we can do for non-custodial parents if we do hold an event is show them how to complete that paperwork. That might be a good thing to do, but don't keep waiting for us, man. Get that modification decrease paperwork filed at the family court. We can send you an account statement. We can send you a copy of your last order if you don't have it. But I would refer you to the family court for help on completing that paperwork. That's what they're there for. That's what the resource center is all about, helping people complete the paperwork. All right, thank you, and we'll check out that DM and we'll get you that fatherhood information ASAP. Great questions today. We really appreciate it. All right. I want to talk a little bit about one of the things I don't promote a lot, and I need to, is I need to talk about, we have not only, and I'm trying to find it here, we not only have a, obviously this Facebook page where we do these Facebook Live events, but we also have a YouTube channel. And I don't promote it enough, but I need to and want to. And so our YouTube channel, and we're going to start moving these Facebook Live videos to the YouTube channel, is Delaware Child Support Services dash YouTube. So if you check that out, just search us Delaware Child Support Services, and you can watch previous videos. There's some stuff on there from when I went and would do the monthly radio show with Jake Smith. So there's a whole bunch of information on the YouTube channel, and I'm really trying to get people to go to that channel, check us out, and check out these past videos because they're so important. It's so important for us to share information about what we do here, help people get on the right track with understanding the family court process, because that too, it can be difficult. It can be difficult, and we want to make sure people understand the process. It's really about understanding what people's rights are. And, the court is there to help people. I know sometimes people don't believe that, but they really are there to try and help both parents get that child support obligation started. And then really it's our responsibility here at Child Support to make sure that people are paying that child support obligation and are are meeting their monthly obligation. And, from time to time, we answer questions when individuals need help. So that's what we're all about. So I thought also, I have been doing a lot of this lately, talking about our website, because on our website, there's tons of good information to help both parents understand the process. And, we certainly want people to know what they can do and can't do in order to, have accurate child support orders obtained. And additionally, sometimes we're dealing with child support cases where one party lives in a different state. And, if you want to know more about what's going on in the state of, Montana, or, the non-custodial parent may live in, Missouri, you can always go to the Federal Office of Child Support Enforcement, and there's links there to child support programs all around the country. And you can, figure out, you've got a question about Missouri law, you can go to the Missouri Child Support page, and it'll take you to the laws about child support in the state of Missouri. So, the Federal Office of Child Support Enforcement is there to also help. And, it's so important that people understand what their rights are. So, the Federal Office of Child Support Enforcement, I'm encouraging people to go there too. And I wanted to talk a little bit about the Department of Justice. They are our child support attorneys, and they help us file petitions with the family court. But in addition to doing that, if you've ever gone to family court for a hearing, and it's before a family court commissioner, you will also see a Department of Justice attorney in those hearings. And, sometimes, I think it's a lot actually, they meet with both parents to try and understand what's going on with their situations. And even our colleagues at the Department of Justice will work with the non-custodial parent and the custodial parent in an effort to get that accurate child support order put in place. So it, they're there to help, and they, are there to help put those child support orders in place. And they're very smart. They're very good attorneys, and they want to do what's best for the child also. Now, in turn, if the non-custodial parent is playing games with the court or with the Department of Justice, they will interrogate, they will process, they will do their thing in the courtroom to get information from the non-custodial parent on the record. So you will see, and I see there's a new comment, I'll be right there to that. You will see the Department of Justice attorneys in those commissioners' hearing. You'll meet with them probably most likely before the hearing starts, so they can get an understanding of what's going on. And in normal cases, if it can't be resolved at mediation, and it gets heard before a family court commissioner, in those cases there is usually a little bit more going on that needs some special attention by the Department of Justice. So there's a new comment in our comment section, so I'll go ahead and read that. Can we talk about contempts of court? Yes, I'm more than happy to do that. So the most common reason for an individual, for us here at Child Support to file generate a contempt petition is for when a non-custodial parent fails to make their child support payments. But hold that thought. I'm going to say, but there's other reasons why too. But let me first talk about the most common way or reason. Non-custodial parent fails to make their child support payments. You know, we send out notices, you're delinquent, and that kind of thing. I'm always encouraging our employees to call the non-custodial parent. Why have the payments stopped? Why aren't you making payments? Let's have a conversation about why, so we can let the custodial parent know. And sometimes we can't get a hold of people now, and then we have to consider generating a contempt petition for non-payment. Now, I know there's always been a lot of discussion amongst the caseworkers and custodial parents. How long do we wait for no payment? And I can tell you this. If there's no payment within 30 to 45 days, we will consider generating a contempt petition. But my thing is, the caseworker should be calling the non-custodial parent, calling a previous employer or calling an employer to find out why payments have stopped. Get the history, get the story, and get those case notes in our child support system. So we can also, even if I want to look at the case, I can see what's going on with it with those case notes. But I know there's always been a question about how long do we wait? And really it's like 30 to 45 days. Now, a contempt petition can really be filed for anything, any part of that court order that's not being followed correctly. So if the family court says non-custodial parent, you're going to make a lump sum payment to pay these medical bills, and they don't do it, we can file a contempt petition. So there's other reasons why a contempt petition can be filed based on what that previous court order says. So it's not only always about the payment, but it's about other things, medical, or you need to find employment and report that to child support or something along those lines. You need to make a lump sum payment by such and such a date. The one thing everybody needs to know is if there is currently a family court capias. Yep, I got your question here. If there's a family court capias because the non-custodial parent failed to show up to a hearing, technically that hearing has not been resolved, and that previously filed petition has not been resolved, so a new contempt petition cannot be filed because there's a previous contempt petition already open as far as the court is concerned. So sometimes we get custodial parents calling up saying, I want you to file a contempt petition. And we say to them, we can't do that because there's a capias, and the contempt petition we filed 6 months ago is still open as far as the court is concerned. Your next question is, but what if they have 3 or 4 of them? So if the family court has found the non-custodial parent in contempt of the previous court order multiple times, there is a record of that being accumulated in the family court file. and that more and more contempts being found by the family court against that non-custodial parent is going to result in, and this is in most cases, not every case, could result in further penalties such as incarceration, or other things such as lump sum payments being imposed on the non-custodial parent by the family court. So the court is keeping a record of those multiple contempt findings, because the more contempt findings in the file, the family court file, the harder the sanction is going to be against the non-custodial parent in future hearings. And the family court is the only entity in Delaware that can find somebody in contempt of their court. And you don't want to do that if you're a non-custodial parent. You don't want to be found in contempt. Because, it's like, you're being found in contempt. It's basically the magistrate, the commissioner, is basically thinking you're in contempt of what I'm telling you to do. And they don't like that. So to answer that question, the more times found in contempt, the greater the penalty that potentially could happen at family court. We're getting close to the end of the hour, and that hour flew by. And so I'm going to kind of start to wrap up. I'll keep my eye on the comment section. As I always say, I probably should say this in the beginning of the video. If you know someone involved in child support that has a child support case, encourage them to go to our YouTube page and watch some videos. Come to our Facebook page, where this will be posted for 30 days, and to watch this video. But more importantly, come next month, the month of December, and the first Monday of the month, I believe, I'm looking at my calendar, I should have this information. It looks like it's the 2nd of December. No, the 1st of December. Come back to the Child Support Connection. We hold it from 11:30 to 12:30, so people can, hey, I'm going to take my lunch, I'm going to go sit out in my car on my phone and watch the Child Support Connection. Tune in. And I see we have another question, so I'm going to hit that and then encourage people, if you have further questions, to reach out to our customer service unit at 302-577-7171. If a non-custodial parent is hiding in another state, but someone living at their local address accepts paperwork being served to the non-custodial parent, does the court consider that person as receiving the information? So, if we are trying to serve someone for a court hearing, and that paperwork is served on their address as we know it in Delaware, and somebody acknowledges that they know that person and accepts that service, whether it's being hand-delivered or being sent certified mail, that is considered served in the state of Delaware. So now if the person doesn't show up for a court hearing, a capias could be put out for their arrest here in Delaware, only in the border, the border of our state. And we would use further information from the custodial parent to help us serve that individual. So if the person is living in another jurisdiction in another state in the United States, we would do some other ways to get them served. It could be through a long arm petition, depending on where the child was conceived. It could be asking that other state to establish a child support case on our client's behalf. So we would first, if based on what you're saying, the person that resides in Delaware at that person where we thought they lived at their last known address, we consider it served, and we would expect that that person would inform the person we're trying to get served and brought to court, informed them that they got the documentation. So to answer your question, yes, service has been accomplished. That green card would come back to us if we send them the letter certified mail, or the process server who actually knocked on the door would complete their paperwork and file it with the family court that the person's been served. So thank you, everyone. Hey, look, we are approaching Thanksgiving. And I want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. And if there's things that we can do to help you, please give us a call at 577-7171. We have information as it relates to food pantries, to the Food Bank of Delaware. We can help you if you need help with food or other services here in the state of Delaware. And then tune in next month, December 1st, from 11:30 to 12:30 for the next Child Support Connection. And I hope everybody has a happy Thanksgiving, and we'll see you next year. See you next month. Getting ahead of myself a little bit. Have a great afternoon and a great day. Thank you for joining.